Honor and Glory, Canelo versus Lara is brought to you live from MGM Grand in Las Vegas. By Showtime Pay-Per-View, brace yourself. By Corona Extra, La Cerveza Más Fina. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world. We're filled up now here at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, ready for the main event. Canelo Alvarez, Erislandy Lara. Let's go to the ring. We'll get ready for the national anthems in just a moment. Again, we've had a long night of boxing here. A full 8 fights here. We've had 5 of them on television, 1 on Showtime, and this will be the 4th fight of the night here on the pay-per-view. And Canelo Alvarez getting ready for Erislandy Lara. Both men coming off wins over Austin Trout and Alfredo Angulo. In one of the pieces we ran earlier in the evening, it was interesting to note just how each man won each of those fights. So we have a fascinating matchup, and we are ready now for the main event. Let's go down to the ring and our national anthems.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we bring out our main event fighters, at this time we would like to ask you to rise for the singing of the national anthems. First, we present the national anthem of Cuba, and to lead us, please welcome to the microphone, Leo Valentino.
Que la patria os contempla orgullosa, no temáis una muerte gloriosa, que morir por la patria es vivir, en cadenas vivir es vivir, en afrenta y oprobio sumido, el clarín escuchar el sonido, a las armas valientes corred. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we present the national anthem of Mexico. Please welcome to the microphone, Lupillo Rivera.
Mexicanos al grito de guerra, el acero aprestad y el bridón, y retiemble en su centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Y retiemble en su centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Ciña, oh patria, tus sienes de oliva, de la paz del arcángel divino, que en el cielo tu eterno destino por el dedo de Dios se escribió. Mas si osare un extraño enemigo profanar con su planta tu suelo, piensa, oh patria querida, que el cielo un soldado en cada hijo te dio, un soldado en cada hijo te dio. Mexicanos al grito de guerra, el acero aprestad y el bridón, y retiemble en su centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. Y retiemble en su centro la tierra al sonoro rugir del cañón. ¡Viva México!
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we present the national anthem of the United States. Please welcome to the microphone, Amanda Avila.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Well, fans, from the MGM Grand here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the time has come for the bout you've all been waiting for. It's time for honor and glory with Canelo versus Lara.
The fan favorite, Canelo Alvarez, the crafty Cuban, Erislandy Lara, who will be able to impose his will and skill.
Saying that you don't grind, but I grind harder. Not that you don't shine, but I shine harder.
Canelo rocking the head with the right hand. Lara now on the attack, and they come out throwing bombs. Wow, what a punch! Unbelievable action. Absolutely electric.
Saying that you don't go, but I go harder. And my work that they gon' let me go farther.
Well, while it won't make any of us forget Muhammad Ali stalking Sonny Liston or getting under the skin of Joe Frazier and George Foreman with his pugilistic poetry, Erislandy Lara did his best impression of a trash talker by crashing Canelo's post-fight press conference in March here at this venue and then trolling the Mexican superstar on social media in order to secure the fight he has been seeking for over 2 years. And who says talk is cheap? He is earning a career-high $1 million tonight, and the man known as the American Dream has made it to the pay window, if you will. He will be facing a hostile crowd, but it pales in comparison to what he's had to endure to get here. He tried to defect once before and finally was able to do it, surviving shark-infested waters to get here to the land of the free, where he not only enjoys freedom, but tonight looks for the biggest victory of his professional prize-fighting career.
And now, making his way to the ring, the WBA World Champion from Houston by way of Cuba, the American Dream, Erislandy Lara.
Paulie, we talk about the fact that the booze will not affect Erislandy Lara. He didn't have his first pair of shoes until the age of 8. He survived the La Finca, the farm in Cuba, under the Cuban national system, and really here he is. He's really forged a path built on character.
Yeah, exactly. And at this level, it's a lot more than talent. It is character. Your experiences in life, all the experiences Lara's gone through in life, have led him to this point. They've built up that character. He comes from the Cuban amateur system. This guy is ready both physically and mentally for his big night. And from speaking to him yesterday, he was clearly a very confident guy.
His wife, Beauty, is due to give birth to a baby girl on Monday. They have 2 other boys, but he left 2 boys and his mother back in Cuba. He hasn't seen his family in over 7 years. That is motivation enough, Al.
It is, and it's a big moment for him. Erislandy Lara, of course, his biggest moment, perhaps, to date in his boxing career.
Six days away from celebrating his 24th birthday, the celebrated Canelo Alvarez anchors his second straight pay-per-view as the A-side, and some ringside observers feel it will take an A-plus performance in order for him to get past the slick southpaw who drew his ire by saying Cuban fighters always take Mexican fighters to school. Well, he'll soon be subjected to a symphony of cheers as the majority of this near-capacity crowd in attendance, many of them female, are here to watch the man who Oscar De La Hoya, his promoter, thinks will be the next golden boy of boxing. A convivial atmosphere here at the MGM Grand. Many of the people singing along to Canelo's ring entrance. He was a part of the most lucrative fight in boxing history when he faced off with Floyd Mayweather last September here. His victory over Alfredo Angulo, his first pay-per-view as a A-side fighter, exceeded all expectations. But tonight, he faces a very slick southpaw in Lara. Many people believe, despite our hashtag battle, this is a 50-50 fight.
And now, here is the popular former unified world champion from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Support will certainly help to fuel Canelo tonight, Al, but if he needs any more motivation, today is the 51st birthday of one of his idols, Mexican legend Julio Cesar Chavez, and we want to wish the Hall of Famer Feliz Cumpleaños, and a lot of people in his camp believe, well, he's going to follow in the footsteps of the Hall of Famer.
You know, Canelo Alvarez, when you talk about what he thinks is his destiny, he believes that he's meant to be one of the best of the Mexican fighters of all time. You know, not in this day and age in boxing, not everyone can put this many people in an arena and you see them reacting to him. Not many can get that many pay-per-views. So for Canelo Alvarez, he's something special in that regard.
With the main event straight ahead, let's go to the tail of the tape, Mr. Bernstein.
This fight was contracted, of course, at 155 pounds rather than 154 in the division because no title was at stake. Now, Canelo, who is generally the bigger man, comes here tonight when they weighed in at 171. So he has a 5-pound weight advantage over Lara. It was expected he would be a little bit bigger, but look at the reach advantage for Erislandy Lara. That's a huge item in this fight.
All right, so in a day and age where these types of fights don't always happen, you are about to be treated to the two best fighters at 154 pounds. Yes, it's at a contract weight of 155, but it's Canelo Alvarez versus Erislandy Lara. And with the official introductions, the man of the mic, the best in the biz, the classy Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the MGM Grand Garden Arena here at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada, for the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions, Canelo Promotions, and Showtime Pay-Per-View, sponsored by Corona, La Cerveza Más Fina, and AT&T, mobilizing your world. This bout is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, the chairman, Francisco Aguilar, the executive director, Bob Bennett. Introducing our 3 judges scoring this bout from ringside. From Las Cruces, New Mexico, Levi Martinez. From Las Vegas, Nevada, Dave Moretti. And also from Las Vegas, Jerry Roth. And our third man of the ring, the Hall of Fame referee in charge, Robert Byrd. All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing in a super welterweight special attraction. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, it's showtime! Introducing to you first on my right, fighting out of the red corner, wearing white trunks with red trim, fighting out of Houston, Texas by way of Guantanamo, Cuba. He weighed in at 155 pounds. His record stands at 19 wins, 1 loss and 2 draws, with 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the WBA Super Welterweight Champion of the world, known as the American Dream, introducing Erislandy Lara. And his opponent across the ring on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trunks with yellow trim, hailing from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. He weighed in the same as his opponent, 155 pounds. With a record of 43 wins, 1 loss and 1 draw, he has 31 wins coming by way of knockout. Currently ranked the #2 world contender. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of the exciting young stars of boxing today. Demos la bienvenida al joven orgullo de Guadalajara y todo a Mexico. Here is the former unified super welterweight champion of the world, introducing Saul Canelo Alvarez. And once again, a referee in charge now to give instructions, Robert Byrd.
Okay. Gentlemen, you had your instructions in the dressing room. Only thing I'm going to tell you now is when I say pare, stop, that's what I want you to do. Stop punching, no te golpes, fuera limpio. Okay? Mr. Lara, Mr. Alvarez. Gentlemen, vamos a hacer esto.
Huge crowd in attendance. Many of them on their feet in anticipation for this much anticipated fight. According to show stats, Canelo connects on 52% of his power punches, the highest among track fighters. But conversely, Lara, their opponents land only 20% of their punches, 3rd lowest among track fighters. The high-octane offense of Canelo, but the slick and sturdy defense of Lara. Al Bernstein, something's got to give.
I'll tell you what, there's electricity in this building. I've been around for 35 years in boxing, and I know it when I see it. There's a lot of electricity here. Well-anticipated fight.
And while it is a rare occurrence, last year we saw 2 similar circumstances as Lara's compatriot Guillermo Rigondeaux defeated Nonito Donaire at featherweight, and of course on Showtime pay-per-view we brought you Danny Garcia defeating Lucas Matisse, and Lara off to a start here as he pops Canelo.
The interesting thing is Lara walked right to the center of the ring and stood there, then started to move. So
yeah, I think he wanted to give Canelo a false impression at first, but then he's obviously going back to implementing the game plan.
And immediately Lara utilizing that vaunted footwork. Canelo already going to the body with his vaunted left hook.
That's the thing, you missed it. Canelo's got to do a better job of setting up power, because it's not Angulo in front of him tonight.
And that was the question, Paulie. Against Austin Trout and Floyd Mayweather, he did show well against Mayweather especially, but everyone has problems against Floyd Mayweather. But against Erislandy Lara, he'll have to be very cognizant. He has to do a good job of cutting off that ring. Easier said than done.
Absolutely. Lara's a crafty guy, a southpaw stance. A lot of things make Lara a difficult opponent. Lara busy establishing the jab
from the southpaw stance. Nice right hand to the basket by the Cuban fighter.
So far, jabs only from one guy, and that's Lara.
And a lead left hook to the body by Canelo.
And there's a jab from Canelo, as I said that.
Ronnie Shields made the point that it will be so much more difficult for Canelo to attack Lara as he moves than it was Angulo, who does not move. And so far, we've seen that.
And of course, largely partisan crowd for Canelo will react to everything he throws, but a good combination by Lara that tags Canelo in the face. And we'll have to see how that impacts the judges as well, of course. The fact that the crowd will respond to anything Canelo does. But another nice combination, showcasing his speed and fluidity as Erislandy Lara.
Very early in this fight, the hand speed difference is marked.
Well, you know what it is? Canelo's not a slow guy, but the problem is he's not as fast on the trigger.
Yeah.
It's like the old gunslingers. You know, you might be quick here, but it's the guy who pulls the trigger faster. And that's a different kind of speed in and of itself. It's a timing speed.
Another crisp combination through the high guard by Lara. So a great start for the slick Cuban here in Sin City.
For Canelo Alvarez, he's got to let his hands go, and he did not do that in the first round. He's got to be aggressive. He also has to get Lara on the ropes. Didn't do that in the first round. And those uppercuts and left hooks to the body and the head are punches he needs to get going. As for Erislandy Lara, angles, he used them beautifully and did stay off the ropes in round one. Did not use the counter right hook because really Alvarez didn't throw that many left hooks.
At this time, I want to welcome those of you watching on the American Forces Network. We are so proud to have the brave men and women with us. We hope you're enjoying tonight's fights. Thank you and bless you for everything that you do. Round two. Strong start for Erislandy Lara. What adjustments will Canelo make here in round two? That was the biggest problem he had against Floyd Mayweather. And of course, he started very aggressively against Alfredo Angulo, but has been well documented, Al. He's not facing El Perro tonight. Erislandy Lara, one of the most technically gifted boxers in the sport.
Canelo said that, you know, Lara's defense is basically his movement. That's really true.
Off balance, though. He was off balance.
Canelo felt if he could corner Lara like Angulo, it could hit him. So far, he's not been able to corner him.
But now Canelo able to at least throw a combination that connected, blocked by Lara. But again, the crowd reacting feverishly, and Lara's able to sneak that sniper like right through the guard. Or left, I should say, from the southpaw.
Canelo came out with a few more jabs this round at least.
Yep.
Just to keep Lara busy on the outside, because you got to keep him busy even if they're not landing. Oh, good catch and shoot combination by Lara.
Left hook to the body by Canelo, but Lara comes back with a lightning quick combination.
Caught the hook to the body and then came back with a three-punch combination right after.
An amazing atmosphere here in the fight capital of the world with the biggest fight of the summer on display. A minute and a half remaining in the second. Canelo now clinches, smothering Erislandy Lara.
Watch your feet, watch your feet.
Canelo, never known as the most fleet of foot, but now walking down Lara. Lara looking to keep him at bay with the jab.
Lara using just enough movement.
Nice right hand to the body by Canelo. Another right hand targeting the midsection by the Mexican superstar.
And he's better off trying to get to the body first. And Lara will not be an easy target to the head at the beginning of the fight.
Lara with his hands down.
A close second round.
Lara utilizing that deft footwork with 30 seconds now remaining in the second round. Canelo needs to cut him off as he leads with that left hook.
A good left hand by Lara. He got underneath it.
Lara snaps a jab, follows with the straight left. Canelo leads with a right hand. That was a left hook on the bell line, or Lara motions to the referee.
Canelo Alvarez was able to get a punch in that caught Lara a little bit off balance, but when lefties and righties are in the ring, there's often the mixing of feet, and in that case, that was part of the reason why, as you see, the left foot of Canelo kind of hooks the right foot of Erislandy Lara, trips him a little bit. That happens many times with righties and lefties. Great shot of that there by the folks in the truck.
Keep blocking and watch out for the left. That's the only thing he has. He has the left. And you got to keep moving your waist.
Round number 3 underway. Canelo's 46th professional bout, and yet hasn't faced many left-handed fighters. We know he faced Austin Trout, Ryan Rhodes, who switch hit back in 2011, and fellow Mexican lefty Ricardo Cano. And so somewhat surprising as he misses with that right uppercut that just whistled by the chin of Erislandy Lara. Lara sticks the deft jab, follows with a straight left down the middle. Double jab from the Cuban.
Lara has faced a very tough schedule. His last 7 opponents have all held or challenged for a world title. So he fights a tough set of opposition. No different tonight.
Able to avoid the attack on the ropes was Lara, back in the center of the ring, and just Paulie utilizing that footwork, which we know would be one of his biggest attributes in this fight.
Yep, and Canelo trying to target the body, and I think it's smart because right now Lara is not going to be an easy target to the head. I think Lara also trying to frustrate Canelo with the footwork, you know, and see if Canelo can remain patient and not step outside himself.
Well, Canelo again turns 24 in 6 days, but possesses a maturity that belies his youth. Although he's fully frustrated against Floyd Mayweather and wasn't tough against Austin Trout. But comes off a dominating victory over Alfredo Angulo, and now Lara just sticking to the game plan, fires off an economical 1-2 combination.
Sticking to the game plan, much to the chagrin of this crowd, which is letting him hear it, but of course he's here to win.
And it really looks like he's fighting a lot in the style of the amateurs, you know, the amateur Olympic style of the Cubans, you know, trying to score and run, and trying to build up the points.
And he believes that Canelo Alvarez, who has had some issues getting tired later in the fights, will slow down later, and then he thinks he can attack more.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning especially, you don't want to take too many chances with a big puncher like Canelo. So we'll see how when the fight progresses, if Lara starts to take more chances. Right now, he's content to pot shot and try to walk Canelo into traps.
Lara's trainer, Ronnie Shields, told us that Lara's the master of making you adapt to his style. 30 seconds left in the 3rd round.
And right now, that 5-inch reach advantage for Lara is serving him well also.
There's a straight left that tags Canelo in the face.
Him into it. He moves around, throws a couple of pot shot jabs, moves around again, and then he'll set and throw that 1-2. He baits Canelo into it. Canelo just walking him down instead of cutting the ring off.
Yeah, he's just leading Canelo all over this ring, chewing up the real estate.
And again, this is what I mean by setting traps.
He's frustrated, okay? He's frustrated. We gotta just keep doing the same thing. Okay? Don't change nothing. Keep boxing. Okay? Go ahead, do your thing. Hey, everything keep phasing. Boom, boom, boom. Get out of there. Boom, boom, boom. Get out of there. Very good. The guy, when he's set, throw a couple punches and go. Okay? Keep turning both ways, all right? Everything is great. Bring that out. Come on.
Remember, those closest to Canelo, including his promoter Oscar De La Hoya, did not want him to take this fight, Paulie, and we already see evidence of maybe why.
Yeah. Lara's a very difficult guy to deal with.
Ronnie Shields in the corner of Lara, of course, was in the corner of Pernell Whitaker many years ago, and he fought another great Mexican fighter who you referenced earlier.
The birthday boy.
Yeah, Julio Cesar Chavez. So he's in the corner with a slick lefty facing a Mexican icon in front of a crowd that favored the Mexican fighter, much like tonight.
Canelo unloads with a couple of right hands.
Wow.
There's a nice combination that culminated with a left hook to the body. Now Canelo beginning to find his range.
And that's what you need. You need that aggressiveness from Canelo. You need to get the punches off.
That's what Alfredo Angulo did.
He was trying to plod forward earlier, but now he's actually making an effort to get these hands off.
Canelo works the body.
Lara being smart, though, trying to smother it. He'll take the offensive attack.
Good combination by Lara.
Even if he gives around the way, it seems like Lara is okay as long as he slows Canelo down.
Whole different attitude, though, in this round.
So as we talk about one of the keys for Canelo being that body work, and thus far he's got a huge advantage. Although Lara's done very good targeting the head.
This fight has changed at the moment, though.
And now Lara on his bicycle.
No.
Midway point of round 4. And now Canelo has Lara on the ropes momentarily, but the cat and mouse game has begun.
In this round, though, Canelo's thrown twice as many punches as Lara and has landed more.
Sharp left hand by Lara again. If Canelo can make an adjustment to that straight left hand of Lara, I wonder what Lara will do, because right now it's been his best offensive weapon.
Right hand to the body by Canelo Alvarez. A minute left in the 4th.
The body work of Canelo Alvarez in this round has been extraordinary.
The mouse forming underneath the right eye of Canelo Alvarez.
Yep, those left hands of Lara are affecting them.
Yeah, in the midst of a very good round for Canelo, that becomes an issue.
And it shows you that Lara, despite probably losing this round, is not panicking. He's still sticking to the game plan.
Great point. But this round's important. It's gotten Canelo back in the fight.
Yeah, and also mentally maybe give him some confidence.
Final 10 seconds of the 4th round. The best round thus far for Canelo Alvarez, as he has Erislandy Lara on the run, but has managed to connect with some of his power.
Do not get desperate. Don't get desperate.
Canelo Alvarez was a different fighter in the last round. He was aggressive. Not everything landed perfectly. Some on the arms, but he landed a lot of good body punches. And he was much more effective in a round. The first round he probably won. Now, Lara has been landing the straight left very effectively, and there was an instance in the last round when he did that. And of course, the slight cut and swelling around the right eye of Canelo, now a big issue, or at least an issue.
The bell in round number 5. One of their two common opponents, Austin Trout, thinks that Lara can and will do everything that Floyd Mayweather did to Canelo. But Trout thinks that Lara will do a better job because he won't be trying to mix it up as much as Mayweather did. Oh, there's a good combination by Lara.
Wow, nice right hook, and he was a throwaway left hand. He didn't throw the left hand hard at all, and again, he put a lot of whip on that hook.
The right hook, we talked about it in the keys to victory. It's a good weapon for Lara.
Yep, and he tried it again there. See, there's the quick snap out left hand to kind of to show it, and then
straight left by Lara. Canelo trying to
That's what Angulo did.
There's the combination again through the guard by Lara. Lara doing a good job of targeting the head, but it's all Canelo Alvarez when it comes to the body work. And there's a left hook to the liver. Another left hook by Lara. And Canelo, Lara selling it to the referee that it's hitting him on the belt.
Lara's going to have to do a good job of countering these body shots Canelo's throwing. He's going to have to make Canelo think twice about them because they could have an effect on Lara as the fight progresses.
Straight right hand through the guard by Canelo as we pass the midway point of round number 5. But Canelo, wanting to cut off that ring, has Lara along the ropes. This is where Angulo had success. Canelo with a huge edge in this round in terms of body shots landed. As we are coming up on the final 60 seconds, there was a right uppercut on the inside, but a counter right by Lara.
Mention the uppercuts again in the keys. Now, Alvarez starting to look for that punch.
Canelo known for having better combinations than you would find at your favorite Chinese restaurant, but he needs to catch Lara in order to put them together, and he has had better success over the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, you know, he's gotten to the body a little bit better. He's got a better job of closing the distance, but he still has to make an adjustment to that left hand of Erislandy Lara.
Jab.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to use his jab a little bit, but the straight left hand of Lara has continued to land when he throws it.
Right.
And Lara's added a little bit of a right hook this round, too. But Canelo has to continue that body work, and maybe it'll pay dividends as the fight progresses.
As we head into the final 15 seconds, high drama here in Las Vegas. An electric atmosphere for this battle between the two top 154-pounders, Canelo Alvarez and Erislandy Lara, getting it on.
Erislandy Lara was able to put together some very good punches. Now, using the right hook, and that is a great weapon for him. And that time he didn't have to counter a left hook of Canelo. There's a left hand that didn't straight, right on the belt line.
That's a high belt.
It's a pretty high belt, you're right. And Lara was working the referee a little bit in the last round, but Canelo going to the body effectively.
One of the sanctioning bodies give him that belt out. All right, we are set for round number 6. Terrific fight thus far between Erislandy Lara, the defensive specialist, the product of the powerhouse Cuban national team, and Canelo Alvarez, wanting to establish himself as not only a mega box office attraction, but one of the best fighters in the sport. And of course, Lara would love some of that notoriety, some of that profile. One of the reasons he went outside of his comfort zone to really goad Canelo into taking this fight out.
Yeah, Canelo said, I would have fought him anyway, but the things he said kind of put it over the top.
There's the southpaw orthodox feet tangling.
When Canelo jabs, when Alvarez jabs, he's better, but then he forgets to use the jab.
Lateral footwork by Lara.
Yeah, sometimes he loses that patience, you know, and his age shows there's sometimes a lack of maturity.
Saw what Canelo did there. He goes, no, you're not going anywhere. You stay right here, big guy.
Yeah, it's a good thing he's doing that. You know, I don't knock that at all. You got to try to be physical with the slick boxer. Right. Maybe try to frustrate him a little bit, because otherwise the boxer will frustrate you if you're the pressure guy.
And how do you feel Canelo has responded to the footwork of Lara? It doesn't appear to be that he's getting as frustrated as we did see against Floyd Mayweather and the like. Like, he is showing maturity.
Yeah, no, he's trying. He's continuing to stalk Lara, and he's not getting as reckless. But at times he is missing a lot.
Right.
He's got to try to do a better job of being effective, but at the same time, he's remaining calm.
Right. And Lara, meanwhile, remains on his bike, and the crowd reacting to the fact that he's not willing to stand in the pocket. And why would he? It's a styles clash, Alan. That's what makes this fight so intriguing.
And you know, Lara has a bigger picture in mind. We mentioned he feels like if he can get into those later rounds, that if he makes Canelo expend a lot of energy here, he'll be able to win those rounds and maybe even hurt Canelo out of fatigue.
And we're 45 seconds away from the midway point of this 12-round non-title affair. Again, contract weight of 155 pounds. Many people, including Lara, feel that the fact that Canelo wanted it at 155 and not 154 for the title is that he's having trouble making this weight and that he will eventually move up to middleweight. Canelo says no, he's going to stay at 154, but this is about honor and glory, not about a belt.
Meanwhile, this is a pivotal round because it's very close.
Oh, right uppercut just misses by Canelo. And now Canelo just going to work on the bodies. He finally grabs a hold of Erislandy Lara.
Lara trying to be smart there and smother. Good job by Canelo to not accept that smother, to continue to try to work despite the smother attempt by Lara.
Okay, now listen. Look, all we got to do is just keep doing the same thing. But you got to throw more jab. Start doubling the jab up now, okay? Deep breath. Look, this guy's desperate now. Every shot coming from him is a hard shot down, okay? All you got to do is keep up.
The Charlos who sparred with Erislandy Lara taking in the action. Had an interview with Brian earlier. And, man, they were very impressed with Lara in the gym.
Well, they're trained by Ronnie Shields, who has a lot of good 154 punches in his gym.
So at the midway point of this mega main event scheduled for 12 rounds, Alvarez told us that he feels Lara's power is in his legs, the fact that he moves so well, but that once he puts his hands on him, he thinks he's going to cover up and go to the ropes. Canelo said it would be up to him to make the fight, force the action, because he doesn't feel that Lara is going to make the fight, and we've seen glimpses of that.
Well, a lot, and he has not been able to keep Lara on the ropes. You know, going into this round, according to show stats, Alvarez has only thrown 10 more punches than Lara. He probably wanted to be a little more active.
And that's the thing, the movement of Lara a lot of times prevents you from being as active as you want to, because you're not in punching range to throw punches.
All right, let's bring in our unofficial scorer, Steve Forrest. Steve, how do you have it at the midway point of the fight?
I have Lara ahead 4 rounds to 2. Judges have to differentiate between aggressiveness and ineffective aggressiveness. For the most part, especially when Lara moves to the left, Canelo's not cutting off the ring. It's been Canelo to the body, Lara upstairs. I give Lara the edge so far.
Yeah, and you also got to give credit at a certain point to ring generalship, and Lara has really shown a lot of ring generalship.
It's part of the scoring criteria. And Canelo walking Lara down here in round 7. Lara with the head movement, the feints, and now fires off a combination before escaping.
That was an example right there. Canelo was in punching range. He watched Lara and he didn't get off.
There's a double left hook to the body, followed by a right hand to the midsection by Canelo.
A lot of times, Canelo has chances to be first when he finally traps Lara. He's got to do a good job of being first, because you don't want to waste the chances when you do trap your opponent.
There's another double left hand by Canelo Alvarez. Lara comes back with a straight left that bounces off Canelo's shoulder. Lead left hand by Canelo.
What we haven't seen is the double left hook from Canelo. He's been able to get the one into the body, but because Lara moves, he hasn't been able to get the second one.
Oh, cut over the right eye of Erislandy Lara. And he was cut against Vanis Martirosyan over the left eye in the 7th round of that fight that ended up being a stoppage because of it, but now so a bloody eye for Lara, a mouse under the right eye of Canelo.
We didn't see a clash of heads. Doesn't mean there wasn't one. Of course, we'll investigate.
Lara's also got a mouse underneath that right eye. Looks like.
And for the first time, he's kind of staying against the ropes there, even though he lands a nice combination.
Final 10 seconds. It's been a spirited affair thus far between Canelo Alvarez and Erislandy Lara. Both of them wearing the marks of this battle thus far.
Stay nice and relaxed, baby. Nice and relaxed now. Okay? Stay nice and relaxed. Everything, hey, look. Come on. Give me a drink.
We will go back and see if we can pick up where this cut may have happened. Beautiful uppercut by Canelo Alvarez, and that appears to be where the it was where the cut came from. And you can see it dramatically. Well, we talked in the keys about the uppercut. When he throws that punch, he's very effective, and that was a beauty. And that's a fight-changing punch in many ways because of the cut, and it was a pretty good round. You saw him wiping the blood away, so we're very confident that's where the cut happened.
Bob Santos is Erislandy Lara's cut man. Let's see if he does as good a job as we saw in our last fight. Stitch Duran took care of Abner Manes' cut over his eye, but round 8 is underway. Canelo Alvarez started boxing at the age of 13. He turned pro as a precocious 15-year-old, making 100 pesos a round, as you heard on All Access, and really a 15-year-old pro in Mexico, not uncommon. He's come a long way since then, of course. Scheduled to make a minimum of $1.5 million for this fight, plus pay-per-view points. We mentioned Lara earning a career-high payday of $1 million.
And this fight has taken on some interesting drama now. Not only did Canelo have a pretty good round in the last round, the cut is a big factor. And by the way, Bob Santos, not only the cut man, but also co-manager of Erislandy Lara.
Oh, good shot by Canelo.
And Farhood has the fight unofficially tightening up as Lara now ahead by 1 point as he scored the last round for Canelo. Again, that's our Showtime unofficial scorecard with a minute gone in the 8th. Canelo targets and hits the body with the straight right. He continues to invest in the body and pace, slowing down a bit as Lara again using the footwork to get away from Canelo's power.
Watch your head, watch your head.
The offense of Erislandy Lara has slowed down a lot. He has not been really landing a lot of punches or throwing them with conviction.
How much do you attribute that to the cut?
Well, it could be the body work, too.
The body work, that's
invested
right.
in the body very early in the fight.
There's a lead left hook to the body by Canelo. Now trying to cut off the ring as the very active Lara. There's a combination by Canelo. Lara flashing the jab, but you're right, Al. Not throwing a lot of punches, and he absorbs another punch to the gut.
And the Canelo Alvarez jab has reemerged, and that's helped him in this round. And feinting a little, Alvarez hasn't done that in this fight.
Canelo has Lara momentarily on the ropes, walking him down, misses with that lead left uppercut. 30 seconds left in the round. Lara refusing to pull the trigger. Lara feigning a bit, coming over the top with that lead right. 10 seconds left in the 8th round. The tide beginning to turn here. In the last couple of rounds, the crowd firmly behind Canelo Alvarez.
Look, we can't give up no close round. We're not no close round. I don't want any close round. Look, the guy is walking right in. All he got to do is use the jab. The jab is right there. The jab and the 1-2. The one on the door, right down the middle, all day. The guy is walking right to him. Okay? All you got to do, baby, is just stay relaxed and keep doing what you're doing. I got it. Okay? Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep boxing. Keep turning it both ways. Throw a combination and stop them out. go, baby. Deep breath, deep breath.
Ronnie Shields imploring him to use the basic fundamental, one of the most effective weapons in the game, Al, the jab. As we go to Jim Gray now with this report on Lara's medical condition.
All right, he was just examined by Dr. Damon Zavala, and the doctor has told me that the cut is very deep on his right eye, but as of now, he does not feel at this moment it is a threat at all to stop the fight. He's going to keep checking him in between rounds. Mo?
Appreciate it, Jim. Thank you very much. Opening 30 seconds of the ninth, and Canelo continues to stalk Lara.
And you know, it's interesting. Most of the punches that Canelo has landed in this fight, there's the jab that Ronnie Shields wanted, have been body punches. Sometimes judges don't pay attention to that. But in this case, they've been a lot of clean punches to the body.
There's a right hand to the body by Canelo. Lead left cross by the southpaw Lara. But again, Paulie, he is unable to get on track. He's utilizing the footwork, but Canelo still managing to catch him.
Yeah, and Canelo starting to find the range a little better, getting off more punches, more confident offensively.
All right, unofficial scoring courtesy of Showtime. Steve Farhad after 8 rounds, and Steve, you've evened it up.
3 out of 4 to start for Lara, 3 out of 4 to finish for Canelo, even after 8. But the momentum is clearly Canelo. Lara just not getting off right now.
There's a combination that scored for Lara. Midway point of round 9.
They thought in the Lara camp that he'd be the one fresher right now. Doesn't necessarily look that way.
No, it doesn't, although he is getting busier. But now Canelo working the body. Blood streaming down the right side of Lara's face as Canelo digs away at the body. And this partisan crowd, euphoric with everything the red-headed Mexican throws at Erislandy Lara. Coming up on the final 60 seconds of the night.
And you have to acknowledge they will be partisan for you, but he's doing some good work.
Beautiful combination.
Lara's got to do that catch and shoot again. He's got it there. He did it there. But he got to be more consistent with the catch and shoot on the offense, from the defense to offense transition. Because Canelo is now barraging him with those body shots.
The first half of the fight, Erislandy Lara's footwork and attack to the head served him well. The second half, due in part to the investment in the bodywork by Canelo, has certainly swung the fight back in his favor. Lara slipped there. That was a slip. It's an amazing atmosphere, but you can't sell that one out. That was a slip.
The underused weapon is the right hook by Lara as a counter to the left hook to the body by Canelo. He's not used that punch enough.
Yeah, and that's a catch and shoot right there. He's got to use it more. Got to create doubt.
The ebb and flow of boxing on display in Las Vegas.
Hey, tell him he got to repeat. He got to repeat that round. I got it. He got to repeat that round, okay? Combination. No, you got to throw 3-4 punches and go. 3-4 punches and go, that's all.
I believe it was the logo on which he put his foot that maybe caused him to slip a little bit. Well, or the wetness in the corner. And luckily, Canelo Alvarez didn't hit him when he was down, and Robert Byrd got in there very quickly. Good job of refereeing by Robert Byrd. Another look at where Canelo saw Erislandy Lara trip. It's a good thing that Lara did not injure himself. Could have hurt his left foot, and hopefully he didn't.
The bell and round number 10 at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Canelo Alvarez in the black with orange. Erislandy Lara in the white, red, and blue. Mauro Ranallo, Al Bernstein, Paulie Malignaggi ringside. We're joined by the Showtime Sports crew and the crowd rallying behind their prodigal son with chants of Canelo.
Plot is thickening, we can say that.
There's a right hand body, and Erislandy Lara avoids that left hook. Downstairs.
Early on, good offense there. Early on, Lara had done a good job of creating doubt. in Canelo's mind in his own offense. He's got to do that again. He's got a good start to this round. He's got to continue to make Canelo doubt himself because he's gone away from that, and Canelo's gained confidence as the fight's progressed.
Canelo taking the fight to Erislandy Lara just as he expected would be his task. Lara moving side to side, but still feeling the effects of these blows as Canelo comes in close. Referee allowing them to break, and there's that short right uppercut on the inside by Canelo.
It's a great, you made an interesting point there, Mauro, as we see the scoring of Steve Farhart with Lara just edging ahead.
We expected a close fight, Alan. That's exactly what we're getting to, but you mentioned something about me making a great point. Please finish.
You did, because he was on working that body and working on the inside. Robert Bird's letting them fight on the inside, and that's important.
Lara's having himself a good round so far, guys.
Lara coming back with another combination to the head. Still not panicking, very focused. And Canelo continues to walk him down, coming forward, but Lara doing a good job of smothering the attack. Coming up on the final minute of the 10th. Canelo parried the jab, but ate the left.
These rounds all important.
45 seconds left in the round. Canelo, there's a left hook to the body. Lara circling to his right, which is right in the path of that left hook. That is Canelo's calling card. 30 seconds now left in the round.
With all the body punches Canelo has landed, it has not stopped the movement of Erislandy Lara.
And he is also continuing to target the head, although he got jacked there with the lead left uppercut that he just caught the end of as he was escaping. We head into the final 10 seconds of the 10th round. It has been just as advertised between Canelo Alvarez and Erislandy Lara.
In a very good round for Erislandy Lara, an important one perhaps for him, maybe a comeback one. Throwing combinations, the exact combination that Ronnie Shields asked for. The 1-2, and then later on in the round, using that rangefinder jab to land this straight left hand and then following up with the jab. Canelo Alvarez has concentrated on the body, and when he can get Lara in this posture, he will throw those body shots, and there's one that landed. But Lara able to escape to his right, and that's important. Didn't get caught in the corner.
So Lara doing a good job of utilizing the footwork and still keeping Canelo at bay. A very competitive matchup here going into round number 11. And Paulie, despite the fact that Canelo has had some success to the body, Erislandy Lara still doing a good job when it comes to utilizing the footwork and managing to avoid a lot of the attack and land with those economical combinations.
Yeah, you know, he had himself a good comeback round because for a few rounds he had looked like he was starting to slow down. So good comeback for Lara, and let's see how Canelo responds.
Two very important rounds, Al, as you mentioned, a very close fight, but really could go either way. Erislandy Lara doing what he wants to do, and Canelo has had success, but not doing enough maybe to cut off that ring.
Well, I'll tell you an important number. Lara has outlanded Alvarez 48-8 coming into this round in terms of jabs. And while we expected he might out-jab Canelo's not thrown enough jabs. When he's thrown more jabs, he's been effective.
And our unofficial score, Steve Farhood has Lara up by 2 points, and that could very well be the case as Lara sticking to his game plan, the gifted boxer from Cuba. It's all about hitting and not getting hit. And there, Canelo working the body again, but there comes back Lara.
Canelo 7-1 in 12-round fights, and Lara is 1-1.
Midway point of the 11th. Again, The crowd silent now, maybe beginning to think as well that Lara doing what he said he would do, utilizing the ring and that footwork, and Canelo unable to get on track.
Well, they're impatient with Lara. Certainly, they're rooting for Canelo. They want him to stand and engage, but
Lara's picking him off. Another combination upstairs by Lara.
This round, Lara hasn't done that much great offensive work, but it might be enough based upon his movement. I don't know.
There's another combination that connects on Canelo's face, and Lara doing a good job of avoiding Canelo's attack and actually scoring when necessary.
Yeah, he's boxing a very smart round. He's taking the crowd out of it, yeah, while eliminating the effectiveness of Canelo.
This fight has had so many ebbs and turns.
Really has.
Final 10 seconds as we are headed to the crucial 12th and final round.
When Canelo Alvarez can get him on the ropes, he can do some good work, like that right hand as he was kind of wheeling off the ropes. But later on, Lara will show us that even when he is pushed against those ropes, he can wheel away and do some good work. You can see here, Canelo thought he was going to get him in that corner, and instead he got hit with a good straight left hand. We should mention Bob Santos, who's worked on that cut, has done a great job.
This is your round. This guy's desperate. Okay, this guy's desperate.
It's a very close fight. It's a very close fight. Upstairs and downstairs. Closing.
Canelo's corner saying it's a close fight. Lara's Ronnie Shields, his trainer, saying that Canelo is desperate. He may very well need a knockout here in the 12th round to win the fight. It's been close, and maybe Canelo fully cognizant of that as he's on the attack. But Lara again using his footwork to avoid the brunt of the attack.
And this fight could very well be up for grabs in this round. Remember, Lara may have lost the 12-round decision that he deserved against Williams, but he probably got one against Carlos Molina that he didn't deserve. So we'll see what happens in this one.
And again, you have to remember the three judges sitting at ringside. A closely contested fight, but the crowd reacting to everything Canelo does. But look at that beautiful combination through the guard by Lara. Lara boxing a very effective fight and utilizing that footwork. And our unofficial scorer, Steve Foreign, has Lara up by 3. So according to him, Canelo does need the dramatic knockout. Canelo works the body, but again, Erislandy Lara able to pivot away.
Those are nice combinations, though, that Canelo threw there. And I don't think Canelo's having a bad 12th round. The question is, how good is it, and can he sustain it?
The crowd desperately cheering Canelo, but Erislandy Lara has remained committed to the game plan, utilizing the depth footwork, scoring when necessary and avoiding a lot of this attack from Canelo, who is slowed down now here with 1 minute and 18 left. He needs to continue to attack the body, but Lara, the wily veteran, clinching, smothering Canelo. As we head into the final minute.
Canelo now also tired. He's accepting clinches as opposed to before he used to try to fight out of him.
Good point.
Let's see how this final minute shapes up.
Close round.
Blocks that punch. It is, but I think Lara's footwork and defensive ability giving the edge, and there he connects again to the head. So Lara picking off Canelo. There's a left hook to the body by Canelo as they clinch.
Lara is just so sharp, but at times Canelo is also able to muscle him and force in those body shots. Let's see who gets off first here. It's a key moment right here.
20 seconds left in the fight. That one below the belt. 15 seconds. Lara utilizing the movement. Canelo coming in with a short left uppercut. And we are going to the judges' scorecards. Canelo and Lara go the distance. Body language speaks volumes, but it doesn't matter when it comes to scorecards. But Erislandy Lara, and maybe rightfully so, thinks he's won this fight.
We would anticipate fairly close scorecards in any case, either way it goes. But Lara boxed very effectively in a lot of the fight. A key man again. We talk about Stitch Duran in that the previous fight. Bob Santos closing the cut on the right eye of Lara, which we know is caused by a cut. Very important, because that could easily have cost Lara this fight, and it didn't. They certainly feel in his corner that he did the job.
A terrific performance for Erislandy Lara. He just can't feel that he has arrived. Let's look at the show stats.
In their estimation, more punches landed for Erislandy Lara, not by a monstrous amount, 10 punches one way or the other. You know, it's how those punches are divided by round is how you really determine it. And most of those punches that are labeled power punches by Canelo were body punches. And you see how few jabs and in right hands to the head that Canelo landed. So that was a problem for him.
Coming in, many people thought it was a 50-50 fight. They go the distance in a competitive battle, but what will the judges decide? Paulie, your thoughts?
I don't know. This is a tough one to call. It's a really tough one to call. It's hard to pick an exact winner.
And the important thing here is this is the show stats interpretation of what landed. But the point is, you see in each round very, very close, and that's the point. How did each round get scored? And there were a lot of ebbs and flows in this fight.
All right, so class was in session. Who will get the victory? Let's go to Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. We have a split decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Jerry Roth, scores about 115 to 113 for Erislandy Lara. Judge Dave Moretti sees it 115 to 113 for Canelo Alvarez. And Judge Levi Martinez scores about 117 to 111 in favor of the winner, Canelo Alvarez.
Celebrate the split decision win for Canelo Alvarez, 115-113 for both of them, and then the score of 117-111. And we will review the scores in a moment, but let's get up to Jim Gray, who's standing by with Canelo.
All right, Mo, thank you very much. Canelo, congratulations. Felix De Jesus will translate for us. As we now have a fight here in the ring, and there's a disturbance now being broken up. If we can show overhead a couple of Canelo's entourage is now maintaining order. Canelo, congratulations. Did you feel as though you had won this fight?
Felicidades, Canelo. ¿Pensaste que había ganado esta pelea?
Yo vine a pelear, no vine a correr. Yo vine a pelear. Si él quiere ir a un maratón, pues que se vaya a un maratón.
I came to fight. I didn't come to run here. If he wanted to go to a marathon, then go to a marathon.
Aquí no se gana con correr, se gana con pegar.
You don't win by running here. You win by hitting.
Did you feel as though his footwork was effective, however, as he was able to consistently out-jab you?
El trabajo de los pies, tú pensabas que estaba bastante efectivo para ti porque tiraba bastante el jab.
¿Él? Sí, es un peleador que vino a estar todo el tiempo corriendo, moviéndose, tirando el jab. Así no se gana una pelea. Una pelea se gana moviéndote, sí, pero tirando golpes.
No, definitely. He does have a great jab and he moves around, but you don't win a fight that way. You don't run, and that's what he was doing the whole fight.
Was this the type of fight you expected?
¿Esta era la pelea que tú estabas esperando?
No, yo quería darle a la gente una buena pelea. Una pelea donde de verdad salieran con un buen sabor de boca. Él no vino a pelear. Yo vine a dar todo. Le agradezco a toda la gente que me apoya.
I wanted to leave people with a good taste in their mouth. This is not the fight I expected. I wanted to fight toe-to-toe with Lara, and I wanted to give the people here a great fight.
You landed a very effective shot that cut open his right eye. Did you feel that that was something that affected him the rest of the fight?
Le diste un golpe muy efectivo que lo cortó. ¿Tú pensaste que eso cambió la pelea?
Así es. Yo creo que él desde ahí empezó a correr todavía más, empezó a moverse más, no se paró más y él no vino a pelear esta noche.
Yes, that's correct. He started actually running more when he had the cut, and he didn't come to fight. He came to run.
Es un buen peleador, lo respeto, pero tiene que enseñarse a tirar más golpes.
He's a great boxer. I respect him, but he has to know how to throw more punches.
Were you frustrated?
¿Estaba frustrado?
No, yo estaba haciendo mi pelea, yo estaba presionando la pelea, como lo dije desde un inicio, ¿no? Yo iba a presionar la pelea y así lo hice desde un...
No, I wasn't frustrated. I came here to pressure the fight, and that's the way I did it. I pressured the whole fight.
Many people in your camp did not want you to take this fight. Would you fight Lara again?
Muchos querían que tú no tomaras esta pelea frente a Erislandy Lara del campamento tuyo. ¿Tú lo pelearías otra vez con él?
Cuando se enseña a pelear, le doy la revancha.
When he learns how to fight, then I'll give him the rematch.
Got a new hat, best.
Tiene una gorra que dice best.
La gente es la mejor.
The fans are the best.
What would you like to do now? What is your next step? A lot of people think that you would like to fight Miguel Cotto, and would you like to fight, as your plan has said, in November?
¿Cuál es el plan tuyo ahora? ¿Piensas pelear contra Miguel Cotto posiblemente en noviembre, como tú querías?
Bueno, ahorita descansar, tomar un descanso y ver qué es lo que viene para mí.
Right now we're going to rest, and then we're going to see what's going to happen in the future.
Viene mi cumpleaños, lo voy a festejar y...
My birthday is coming, and we're going to have fun. We're going to celebrate it.
6 days, you'll be 24. You're getting to be an old man.
6 días va a tener 24, un hombre viejo ya.
Ya me estoy haciendo viejo.
Yeah, he's already feeling old.
All right, congratulations, Canelo.
Gracias a toda la gente que vino a apoyarme. ¡Viva México!
Viva México, and thanks everybody for coming out here.
All right. Felix, why don't you accompany me, and we'll walk over to Erislandy Lara, who is here across the ring, and ask him for his opinions and his thoughts on this fight here this evening. Felix De Jesus will translate if he can get over here. Come on, Felix. There we go. There's still a lot of pushing and shoving going on in the ring. Erislandy, did you feel you won the fight?
¿Pensaste que ganaste la pelea, Erislandy?
100%.
100%.
Gané mi pelea, 100%.
I did my fight, and 100% I won this fight.
You seem to be able to control all of the action. Was it your feeling that you were in control of this fight?
Se parecía que estaba controlando toda la acción. ¿Tú pensaste que estaba controlando la acción?
Se parecía, no. Controlé todos los rounds fácilmente. Lo golpeé, lo hice fallar, lo hice lucir mal ante su público, que es lo más importante.
It didn't seem like it. I was controlling all the rounds, and more than anything, I made him look bad in front of his public, in front of his crowd.
How much did the cut in the 7th round to your right eye bother and distract you for the rest of the fight, and was it a factor?
Fue un factor la cortada que recibiste en el ojo y fue un factor frente en la pelea, en el séptimo asalto.
Fue una cortada, no sé cómo fue, pero esto es boxeo. Esto no es gimnasia ni pelota, esto es boxeo y claramente, si son conscientes, todo el público que está aquí, todos los mexicanos y todo el mundo, saben que gané la pelea fácil.
Yeah, this is not baseball. It was definitely a cut. This is boxing. It happens. And the people know, especially the Mexicans here, that I won this fight.
Did the body shots from Canelo bother you at any point?
Los golpes al cuerpo, ¿te dolieron en cualquier momento?
En ningún momento. Eran golpes sin fuerza. Solo me conectaban, pero en ningún momento me puso mal.
No, they did connect, but the problem is that they didn't have any force, the body shots.
You had no respect, and you told us that, and the public, for Canelo coming into the fight. Has that changed?
Tú dijiste que no tenía ningún respeto para Canelo antes de la pelea. ¿Eso ha cambiado?
No, y sigue todavía. Mi palabra no cambia. Yo no lo respeto en ningún momento. Y solamente hice mi trabajo. Y solamente quiero decir la revancha de nuevo.
No, it definitely doesn't change. There's still no respect for him, and what I'm asking for is the rematch again.
You think it would be a different outcome in a rematch?
¿Tú crees que en una revancha hay diferentes resultados?
Claro, 100%. Si son conscientes, saben que es lo mismo.
Yeah, 100%. I will do the same, and I will win here.
Win again.
Thank you, Erislandy.
Gracias.
All right, Mar, let's go back to you.
All right, so Erislandy Lara feels he won the fight. Canelo and his legions of fans celebrating the fact that he gets out of the MGM Grand with a split decision win. And of course, we will look at the official scoring now here in Las Vegas. And the two scores, 115, 113 for both Canelo and Lara. And then, of course, the one score by Levi Martinez, 117, 111. Want to bring in Steve Farhood now. And a look at the unofficial scoring from our Showtime score. Steve, you had it for Erislandy Lara. Tell us why.
Just edged Canelo, did much better work upstairs, outlanded him by almost 90 punches upstairs. It came down to Roth and Moretti giving Canelo the 12th round. If they score that round the way Levi Martinez did, which was for Lara, then it's a split draw. So very, very close fight. Moretti and Roth, by the way, are the deans of Nevada judges, 71 years of experience between them. Their cards almost never vary very much from the other judges. In this fight, the judges agreed on 6 of the 12 rounds. So make what you will of that.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Erislandy Lara making his way back to the dressing room. Canelo doing interviews in the ring. And last comments about the scoring, Alan Pauly.
Well, you know, I thought it was a very close fight. I would take some issue with Levi Martinez's scorecard. It's very hard to imagine this being that wide a fight. I thought it was a fairly close fight that could have gone either way.
Yeah, you know, I thought it could have went either way as well. Very close fight. You know, either way, if it's close for one guy or the other, I don't have a problem with it. At what point, though, does Levi Martinez look at his scorecards halfway through the fight or so and say, man, I'm missing a great fight? At what point does he do that? Because he definitely missed a great fight. We just don't know at what point he might have realized it.
All right, let's go to BK.
All right, look, this decision will be debated, and debated by us, I think, in just a few moments, too. I think if anybody looks at this from a distance, and maybe they read about it without seeing the fight, they might think, oh, a home crowd decision, it went to the money fighter, and I completely disagree. I thought this was a well-scored fight. I think it really came down to, you could look at it round 6 in a lesson on how do you score the fight. When you have one guy, and I'm going to say it, running and running and running. Ring generalship is like phantom nonsense. You have to actually land punches. So we'll talk about this and this decision, but I thought this was all Canelo. I agree completely with what he said. We'll talk about this, but first, right now this, before we come back to Las Vegas.
Honor and Glory, Canelo versus Lara, has been brought to you live from MGM Grand in Las Vegas. By Showtime Pay-Per-View, brace yourself. By Corona Extra, La Cerveza Más Fina. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world.
All right, let's go fight by fight. We had an all-action-packed night here tonight in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand. Mauricio Herrera, aggressive from the start, a hard-earned win. Short power shots against Johan Perez, moving his head constantly. Got a majority decision, 8 rounds to 4 on 2 of the scorecards, and Herrera stays a viable player at 140 pounds. Next up, Juan Manuel Lopez, revitalized after a big knockout win in Puerto Rico in March, but he ran right into Francisco Vargas. Wild round 3, Juanma knocked down, and his corner stops the fight after that round. And Francisco Vargas, very impressive, is now 20-0-1. Then the return of Abner Mares, taking on a very tough Jonathan Oquendo. Mares was cut in round 4, faced some boos in the 9th. Again, I mentioned Mares, one of the more exciting fighters in the world, so this was less than exhilarating, but workmanlike, got the job done. Abner Mares comes back from a first-round KO with a win, and that's the important thing for his career as he moves on with a win here tonight in the co-featured bout. And then the main event, you had to wonder from the very start, could Canelo catch up to Erislandy Lara? Lara, using lateral movement for the bulk of the early rounds, was cut by that uppercut in the middle of the rounds. Canelo Alvarez consistently landing body shots throughout the bout. Lara using movement, befuddling Canelo with his movement, his speed. And look, he did land some shots, but it goes to Canelo Alvarez as he beats Erislandy Lara in a split decision. Lara pondering his fate after the fight, but I would take issue with that, as I did, fellas, in rounds 5 and 6. Okay, I know you're down there, fellas. You're waiting for it now, and I'm up here and I'm watching on TV. I said to the fellas up here, round 5 and 6, you know what? He's not landing enough, Paulie. He's running, and I don't want to hear it. He wouldn't stand and trade and actually land scoring blows.
You're 100% right, Brian. Rounds 5 and 6, he was running and running. He seemed to be slowing down. The problem is there's 12 rounds in the fight, not 2. So in 5 and 6, we don't give Lara the rounds. I totally agree with you. The thing is, it looked like the body shots were starting to affect him. He was slowing down in 5 and 6, but then at a certain point in the second third of the fight, maybe the last quarter of the fight, Lara picked it back up. There's a difference with running and there's a difference with boxing. Some rounds he was running, some rounds he was boxing. I felt he boxed just a little better than he ran, and I had him winning by a point at the end of the fight. Yeah, I don't have an issue with you thinking Canelo winning the fight, but at 117, 111, you're missing everything. You're missing everything Lara's trying to do. You're missing all the footwork, all the boxing ability. You're missing the ring generalship. There's a difference when you're scoring at 117, 111.
I'll just say I had it 8-4, so I had it 1 round off. If you want to swing another round back, but I gave it to round 6. Look, I respect Steve Farhood's decision on this too. He gave round 6 to Lara, and I completely disagree with that round.
Here's the point. You know, I agree that ring generalship, we don't even know what it is, and you know, we have. I don't even know. I know what it is. I don't think it is part of scoring, but
right.
Show stats at the end of the night, and I'm not using them as a guideline for scoring the fight, but I'm just saying about the same number of punches were thrown, about the same number of punches, according to them, were landed, a little edge to Lara. My point is, normally when you see that, and in the ebb and the flow of this fight, and the point Paulie's making, that there were some rounds in which Erislandy Lara was in fact running. But the point is, in terms of what was landed and what was thrown, close fight.
Al, you said that judges don't always score body shots.
Right.
In this case, we're looking at these show stats, and again, just as a barometer, 73-4 edge for Canelo in body shots, 103-24 edge for Lara in headshots.
And you know, Kenny Norton years ago won a decision over Jimmy Young in which everything he threw was to the body. Some people didn't like that decision. I think Canelo should get credit for those body shots. I'm a big believer in it, but he didn't land enough to win 117, 111. He might have landed enough to win 115, 113.
Not to mention, what about the shots Lara's landing? Okay, he's moving. He's moving, but in moving, what he's doing is two things. Besides the fact that he's picking off Canelo in a lot of rounds, he's also preventing Canelo from getting off, because by changing range, which is ring generalship, knowing how to change range, by changing range, you're preventing Canelo from getting off that power. Canelo has a lot of firepower, so there's different ways of nullifying it. One of it is knowing how to change range. Canelo can't throw a punch if he's on the other side of the ring from you. So you change range, you get in range when you throw the 1-2, which is what Lara was doing. He'd step in range, throw a solid 1-2, and step back out. In the rounds that he won, that's what he did. When he lost the rounds, he did more running.
I will say, in a lot of those rounds, right, if you do a Willie Pep on a guy, you make him miss and miss and miss, you're still square, 0-0.
Right,
that's not winning. That's not winning points. No. You got to actually land the guy.
And I agree, though he lost those rounds.
All right, listen, I think part of this is that I think fans will look at it and say, oh, Canelo, the money guy, so much at stake for Golden Boy, for the sport. And I'm just saying, no, not the way I saw it and the way the judges see it. This is good for business, the Canelo business. You wonder, does he want a rematch with this guy, given how hard he is to catch?
But will he want the rematch here in Las Vegas, maybe the question. And the fact is, like you say, they're even going in, because of the fact it was so close on paper, Al and I even discussed, this was a kind of a matchup which didn't necessarily scream controversy at the end, but there was that opportunity. And not to say that it's going to be highly controversial, but already on social media, on my timeline, everyone is saying that Lara won the fight.
I wonder if people will want to see it again, given that one guy was doing the lateral movement, which doesn't lend itself to an exciting fight.
Well, and we look ahead and we say to ourselves, that's right, but Erislandy Lara ended up on the short end of a decision. If he's going to fight him again, he may say, I've got to fight him a little more like I fought Alfredo Angulo, where I'm going to stop and punch a little bit more, or at least power punch more. So, to me, close fight, and I can make a case for Lara getting a rematch, but whether it's going to be aesthetically pleasing to people, I don't know.
Come on, guys, let's be real. Canelo's really going to give this guy a rematch. Come on. Let's be real. The rematch is not happening.
Right. You know
guys.
why?
Come
He
on.
beat him tonight, Paul.
Yeah, he beat him tonight, but it was close. You could give a rematch. You do give Lara the just due. I don't have a problem with Canelo winning the fight. I really don't. I don't have a problem with Canelo winning the fight because you know what? It could go either way.
So what
I have
happens
a problem with
Erislandy Lara
Canelo
now?
with Levi Martinez scoring the fight before they even started. That's what I have a problem with.
Oh,
And
but
it
that's
turned
not true.
It
That's
turned
unfair, too,
it
Paul.
turned
Come
out,
on.
It turned out 1-1 with one judge already saying in his mind Canelo was going to win.
So, Paul, you've been the guy in the ring. What happens to Erislandy Lara? That's it? That's it?
We're going to continue to argue here in Las Vegas throughout the night. We enjoyed it. I'm sure you have your own opinions on it. If you look at it again, we've voiced a lot of them. Interesting. It's a subjective sport when you go to judge it. And Canelo Alvarez comes out with a victory 2 in a row now since his one pro loss to Floyd Money Mayweather. That'll do it for now. We hope you enjoyed it, everybody. For Al Bernstein, Mauro Ranallo, Paulie Malignaggi, Steve Farhood, Jim Gray, and our entire Showtime Sports crew, I'm Brian Kenny. We hope you did enjoy it. We sure did. Good night from Las Vegas.